I've done a lot of stuff. The Metroid games, I worked on the Metroid games. I worked with Chris for a long time. And now I'm doing some things I can't talk about. So I wanted to talk to you guys today about performance-based sound design, and I wanted to dive into like my process. So I'm a big Ableton user, and the reason I'm a big Ableton user is because I wanted to use a software that gets me out of the sort of just editing mode of sound design, where I'm pulling sounds and then trying to find content that works, and going more into like sort of what I would call like hyper-fast source creation, and then taking that material and making something out of that. And the reason I like that is that I didn't feel like the sort of common process of like a editing-based sound design workflow, how you like a Pro Tools or a Reaper, to hook up something like Push, which this is basically like a MIDI controller, and it's really hard to see, but like all of these knobs here auto map to whatever track that I'm on. So if I'm on, like, say, this track right here, and I move that gate, all of a sudden I have access to this thing. And so what's cool about that is I can just really get in the zone, and I can create very quickly and sort of make mistakes fast. And so that's kind of my process. So today, I was going to do something that I don't think it's a good idea, but I think it's maybe the best idea. I'm going to just create a sound from scratch, and we're just going to run through the process. And then you guys feel free to ask me any questions. And I'm happy to sort of dive into the workflow. I was just showing the Phantom voice how I did that. I didn't dive super deep into it, but that's just a part of the process. So one of the things that I love about Ableton is it's like really flexible routing, and you can use gated things, you can vocode things really easily, and I'll go into that in a minute. As soon as this loads, we're going to start the grand experiment. Okay, so here we go. I've just pulled a clip from a random game. I don't even know what game this is from. This is from a long time ago, but I just found this. And so it's a very simple little thing. So I'm just going to kind of show you guys how I would approach that. So right here, I have this thing called granulator, and I always have this checked, right? So that's sort of my like source. That's a place where like all of my source material that I create during this process goes to live. So source home, we could call it. All right. So first thing, we'll pull this here. And this is just a so I'm going to just start, and I'll just bring you guys through it. Okay, cool. So I have that. I thought I did. Right. So we have that now. That's bankable and ready to be used, and I'll show you guys that. We'll get to that in a minute. The first thing I'm going to show you guys. So we're just going through, and what I'm trying to do right now is I need some swishes, I need some magic, and I need some like sort of earth impact, right? So I'm thinking that I took this lightning sound and unprocessed Hollywoody lightning thing, and so what I'm trying to build right now is that first swish, that whoom, okay, the first swish of his axe. So very simply, I will just okay, cool. So now I have some of those. And we'll go and we'll tag that real quick. And this is kind of hard to see. Okay, cool. All right, I want one more. Okay, great. So that's our first element. Now maybe we want to have some sort of shiny metal thing. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go to grab like a, I'll show you. We'll get a sword thing. Okay, great. Nope. So probably what I would do with this one is take this, warp this, like really low end, and then I'm going to put a plugin called frequency warp to get it back in the high frequency range. And so a lot of like sound design is really just sort of editing in like editing the unexpected. Rings. So we're going to grab one like this. And then I'm going to do one and then perform the frequency a little bit more. I know that sounds kind of weird in Mr. Rogers, but trust me. What a guy, Fred Rogers. What a guy.
How are you bouncing to a new track? Like, what's
the workflow there? I always have this enabled here. This bounce track you see?
Yeah.
Down at the bottom.
It's always recording.
It's always recording.
Okay.
So all I have to do is click this
Yeah.
to actually enable it to record and throw the content down. Record out the performances. Okay. You know, this is more nerve-wracking than I thought it would be.
You're doing great.
Doing great, champ. Okay, so I want to keep it like minimal. I know we have like a long. Like the fact is that sounds a little on the sci-fi tip, and we're not really going for that. So now it sounds like the sword is sort of cutting through the air a little bit. The cool thing with Ableton is I can actually pitch that up. Now that's less abrasive and like tonal, and I like that. Okay, so we have that. So let's think about this little section here. You see how there's this kind of particle thing right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. So I'm gonna say that like in my imagination, like that's like he's so fucking powerful that whenever he bends down, like Earth has to move out of his way. So that's the idea there. So I'm gonna take. I pulled together a drum rack, and let me open it up for you guys so you can see it. So in each of these cells, I have ice crack, like an artillery impact, and then this really low pitch thing, and that's the thing that I think could work for that element. That is not it. Cool. Okay. Okay. And we're going to go over here to the future. Okay, so that is basically, that's down 37 tones, which is, so it normally sounds like this. So I'm just going to take that down pretty extreme. want that, and this is also another rad thing about push, is I'm able to edit right here on the board itself. So that's kind of cool. I want to go a little more extreme. And let's pitch that one down too. So that's kind of neat to me, but I want to make that a bit grittier. And the way that I'm going to do that is what's cool about the drum rack is that I can actually put effects on each individual cell. And so that leaves you like a lot of flexibility. And another pitch for this, using this drum rack, is that I can save this as a preset. And so now anytime I have anything involving earthy impacts, I can just go straight to my bank and then pull it right up and it's right there, ready to be played. So I'm going to use this thing called Driver. Are you guys familiar with Native Instruments? Yeah, so Driver is a really cool little plug, and it's basically a distortion plug, and it's got like a little like resonant thing that will, right? So we can get, and that's just a neat little thing. So that's going to be the secret sauce to that bit. Okay. So we're going to turn this into audio quickly because this is actually going to be a little harder to straight up sequence from just push. But I'll give you guys a quick demonstration here and show you the way that I like to do this. Okay, we're going to flip to this mode, and basically we're going to give ourselves just basically a 2-bar loop. And so now push is going. Let me see here. If you guys want to like check this out, let me show you something. Okay, so we're basically like, we can start recording here, and I'm just going to tap that in here. Okay?
Can we hold that up for you? Sorry, can we hold that up for you?
Oh no, it's okay, man. Thank you though. All right. So that's going. You can super quickly edit that. And we've been recording that, so. Okay. I'm going to push that one up a bit more, and the way that I can do that is just by gaining that right there. So we'll go here, open up Driver. Cool. So we'll grab that. And yes, I know it's peaking. I don't care. It won't peak in the game. Maybe. Okay, so we're going to take that and then like let's sell that moment right there. So switch to body power is the phrase that my dad used to like to say. My dad was hip. Who says that? Switch to body. Never mind. I'm out. That's really the part we want. And then I'm going to do something crazy for this. It's kind of got that multiple lines. So I want to sell the multiple lines, and the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to do some wacky, wild clip volume automation. Go into, I think I'm going to go probably 64th notes is good. And then I'm just going to draw in tight, 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 up and downs. So now we have Okay, so this is kind of an interesting element. It sounds a little fucked up. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to pull this out, that automation out. We're going to go back to the original. We're going to fade this out, and then we're going to actually just take this, unwarp it, and then dumb pitch it. So that's hyper low end. So I'm going to EQ it, and we'll go through this process here. So I'm going to take out the low, 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 low. I'm going to open up another plugin, even to distort it further, and that's going to be Sound Toys. If you guys don't have Sound Toys, I can't recommend that enough. There's a plugin called Devil Lock. It's just dumb. It's just... And this, I'll probably never do it like that, but for now, there we go, that's cooler. Yeah, I was building myself into a corner there, you know? And I was like, this is not gonna work. And then I sweat a little bit, and I was like, how can I save myself? Pop it to the front, snip it, just like my dad used to say. All right, so, whew, dodged a bullet there. The next thing I'm gonna do is I wanna make that impact when the particle lines hit a little bit grittier, and I'm going to just pop in probably my favorite sound of all time, and that is it's a sound morph sound. And don't buy sound morph. I want to be the only one that owns it. And there's a tone in here, and it's a kick. It's the most transient kick ever. So we can just take that and let's see here. Okay, so we're going to snip the middle of that. Okay, and we're going to pop this right there. And that's a little extreme. And I want that to have some sort of decay or resonance. So my go-to for that is, again, in Sound Morph, it's Echo Boy. Or sorry, not Sound Morph, Sound Toys. I'm going to probably pull it there, feed it back a little bit. Okay, so we've got something that I can live with for now, because we have more to do. So this is the pull up sequence and the magic elements. So I'm going to show you guys a little. This keeps falling off. I'm not mad. It's just happening. It's just happening. I'm going to show you guys something that I love. And right here, this is a plugin called Reactor. And there's a patch called Whoosh. Are you guys familiar with this? Yeah, I've used this way too much. So this thing just basically generates Whoosh content. And it sounds fucking rad. So you can see it swishes each time. I mean, really, if you need to make swishes for $70, this is a pretty good way to do it. Okay. This is going to be our getup. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you guys is another reactor patch, and this one's called S-Layer. If you guys are familiar with S-Layer, what S-Layer is it's a plugin where you can it's a reactor patch, and you can drop in just a bunch of random sounds, and then it basically pitches them and shifts them like just completely randomly, and it's quite good, and it's a great way to like generate content with happy accidents. So here's that, and as you can see, you know, I've dropped into the sample editor. I've dropped in just a bunch of random magic content, and so we're just going to hit buttons and see what happens. So okay, I kind of like that one. And you can also randomize the volume and the pitch. Cool. All right. Was there anything anybody particularly liked in there? Yeah. Okay, great. Hey, when you guys write your review card, just don't use the word train wreck, please. Dumpster fire is fine, but train wreck, it's just super offensive. My dad was a train pilot. Train pilot. Yeah, you know, I know a lot about trains. Hey guys, why do white girls travel in odd numbers? Why? Because they can't even. Oh. My mom said, let me see your report card. I said, okay. My mom said, I want to see more A's. I said, okay. Yeah, no. Okay. I want to scream. No, I don't personally want to scream. I want to scream in this sound. So, I kind of like. Let's find something like something like a monkey. That's it. And your reaction said it all. Yeah, this is like a pretty OG sound, but we're gonna make it new G. Again, I'm painting myself in a corner here. Can I get out? I don't know.
You can do it.
You can do it. Thanks, new best friend. Okay, so what I want to do here, I want it to like resonate, and I want it to be scary, and I want it to be not annoying, but like kind of like, hey everybody, I'm so powerful that whenever I move my axe, I mean, who carries an axe, but that's another topic. Whenever I move my axe, like the earth has to scream a little bit. So nothing's more screamy than rock and roll. And so I'm going to run it through a guitar amp and, add some like crazy reverb and see what I can do there.
I disagree.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber? Okay, cool. Let me auto-tune this shit then. And we'll call it. I hope this opens. This was, it's really kind of fucking up my shit. I might have to, oh yes, we're good. We're gold. That was terrifying. Okay. Let's see. I'm just going to, for now, I'm going to use just like, let's say, this one. Yeah, now I know that's painful. We'll make it less painful. You guys ever seen Mr. Ed?
Yeah.
That's some television right there, I tell you what.
It's a talking horse.
He's talking horse. And yeah, we're gonna make this a little bit more on the power tip. And pull up my favorite, probably one of my favorite sounds. I love that sound so much. One too. Watson, did you record those?
Of course.
Yeah. Thank you. Great job. It's been in like every game I've done. Now listen to it without that. Okay. I want that to pop just a little bit harder and die a little quicker. So that's kind of close. That's sort of one way I approach it. I also have some other things I can show you guys. So I want to show you, like, this guy, once he powers up, he gets in a state and he has like a glowy particle effect around him. So I'm going to show you guys how I would approach that. So I'm going to go back to this granulator here, and I'm going to pull in some chimes, some like bell tree kind of stuff. Okay. Delete that. Okay, good, great, good. Yeah. So I would start here, and I basically it makes your chime loop, like it takes a real world sound, essentially synthesizes it. And I like that because with stuff like that's magical, you typically want something that's kind of at least mildly real world based. Dope. Tight. Cool. Tight. Alright. Grating to the ears, and I get it. And I know, and I'm on your side here. So, to reduce the grating, I'm going to do two things. For one, I'm going to add reverb just to kind of smooth it out. I'm going to probably take an EQ and pull out those highs. Basically like EQing the living shit out of it. And I'm going to pull over, this is an old friend of mine. This is the GRM equalizer. And what's cool about this and why I recommend this, so this is in a pack called the GRM frequency pack or spectral pack. So this is a spectral EQ, and what's really cool about it is it's so precise. So let me just give you a quick demonstration of that and how precise it is and why I think it's so useful. All right, so oh, that's not dope. Oh shit, I get it. I know what's going on. All right, that's okay. Yeah, I literally. Just to show you guys. Let's take this a step further. I'm starting to feel the juice now. Damn it. Oh, that's fun. While I was listening to that sound and thinking about Mr. Ed, I don't know why I mentioned Mr. Ed, but it's been on my heart lately. So I thought, wouldn't it be kind of cool to create a chord out of this? So we'll take this, and this is another rad thing with Ableton. I'm going to set the tone, and go to tones here. I'm going to pull this down by like 4. I had a super low end version of this. Got that. What if we pitch it like down? Now let's pull that back in, okay? Lower. You're fucking crazy, man. No, This is crankers right now. Actually, you know what? It can go lower. And it will. I like that. Like, that's a beautiful thing. Let's go crazier. this is gonna get meta. Whew, boy, just like my dad used to say, this is gonna get meta. What's another? I swear to God, I don't work for Ableton, but one of the things I love about it is it makes it very simple to do things like this. So I'm gonna take our sound, and now we basically have an instrument made from that sound. So. Element, like it back in the sequence we were working on earlier. Right, yeah, that's cool, but this is cooler. It's subtle, but it's sort of gonna marry that loop that we created with the thing that introduces that loop, in theory. Now let's see. Without it. Now with it. And I like that. I think it sells the sequence a little bit better. Okay. I want to talk to you guys. Like, how much time do I have? Do you want me to just keep riffing? Do you guys want to ask questions? What's on your hearts?
Make it lower.
Say what? 24 minutes? Okay. I will. That's a lot of time. Any questions?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Do you, so I noticed an because I'm like an archive junkie. I always archive all my MIDI stuff.
Right.
And it gets real out of hand. I've noticed you just scrap everything.
I do. I live in the present, man.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is about the MIDI, right? Like, let's just take a look at that. Like, this is complete bullshit right here. This isn't a composition. This is MIDI masturbation. I don't need it. It can go. So it depends. You know, like I'll show you this. In my user library, I have basically like, yeah, here's some Prey patches, SFX stuff. So like, so I had to archive that stuff. But I do save certain things, like obviously music, because that's something that's a little bit more tangible and it's something you need to kind of archive. But when I just riff like this, I don't save it. What I do save is the output. So I can like go in later and I can say like, I can pull this thing right here to say like, right there, and then boom, like low end magic, dad magic. Yes.
I can appreciate that, but what if there was something that if you have in mind or something like that, and it was maybe a complicated work?
Yeah.
So at that point, would you say, okay, maybe this is worthy of saving the generative material,
Right.
the source, you know, in its entirety, or
Yeah.
you know, maybe there was a more complex pipeline than that if you did maybe some more external. So maybe would save the MIDI and all the other things you said. Maybe I need a variation on this, or maybe the client's not going to want exactly this, but they want something similar.
Right.
And I'll need to have the time information and the vector material
Right.
to create the final rendering.
Gotcha.
And maybe version control. I don't know if that.
No, no. So that's a great question. But I'll say this. So like, let's just examine this sound right here. So the thing that we did earlier, right? What I would do in a game situation is each of these tracks. I would take this thing right here. This is the swish. So I'd take that. I'd make like 5 of those. I would take the other bit, like that little hit thing. This, which I believe is here. And here, I would make like 4 of those, and then I would pull those all into Ys as separate elements, and then I would sequence those within the event itself within Ys. So and then that's the thing is like the process. Like there have been very few times. I think like on the Donkey Kong stuff. I'd worked on Donkey Kong, and that was a process that I had to save because it's something where the client was like, and you can kind of tell. For something like this is like pretty simple. And like the client's feedback might be something like, hey, like I don't like this shiny thing. And for me, removing that shiny thing is simply going into Ys and killing that element and coming up with something else. So I can do that in real time in the game itself. But for like, I did these creatures called Babombs. They were these monkeys that threw bombs at you. I know it's the world we live in. So for their voices, it's like a lot of like editing of like chimpanzee plus human, plus like this. I used a vocoding process to kind of give it another sort of scary layer, hissy layer, and. That one was one where I had to save the process, and I kind of went in knowing that that's how these people operate. So I would say it's a client per client base. That's kind of how I tend to go. Yeah.
What's a good balance for you when it comes to fully using these plethora of libraries?
Right. It's a great question.
When do you feel to dive much more?
So. Okay. The question is, when do I do recording versus when I use like my library material? And it really depends on the state of the project. So early on in the project, when they're paying you to play, you can do that. You can go and record a lot of things, and you can get good source material. And that's when you're like, okay, I'm sick of using the same footsteps over and over again. I'm sick of using. Like, I'm doing a game right now, and it involves a lot of, like, crazy weapons. So I went in knowing that there was going to be a lot of crazy weapons. And so what I did is I just spent the day recording little mechanical things and, like, editing those into Ableton to where I could just quickly grab those elements. And then I kind of processed those, and then I put all of those into Ys. So those are sitting in a source material folder in Ys, and when I need it, I just go, oh, there's a mechanical thing here, and I can grab it. The other cool thing that I've been doing in Ys is using the Ys now has a MIDI sampler, and you can connect your keyboard into Reaper, and then from Reaper you can use a program called MIDI Loop to directly trigger your content in Ys. So I have a huge huge MIDI sampler full of like little pops and clicks and mechanics and things like that. And then whenever I see something that I need to create a sound for, I literally just create a little MIDI sequence within Reaper and then tag that MIDI sequence to the animation itself as an event. So yeah, that's how I do. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to show you guys some monster stuff. And how I like to approach doing, like, I don't know, maybe we can do a ghost voice or something. Okay, so, well, actually, are there any other questions? Great.
What was the name of that? You said you didn't put it to Ys and then to take it to
Reaper.
Reaper.
Yeah, so Reaper is the thing that you can write the MIDI sequence in. And then you use a program called MIDI Loop out of Reaper into Ys. And Yeah, and then you target an object, and one thing that they don't tell you, those of you that use Wise, and you want to use the MIDI in Wise, you have to use a blend container to create your sample maps. You cannot use an actor mixer, and I didn't realize that. If you try to use an actor mixer directly, your mappings will be all wrong.
Matt, how do you determine when you are gonna? Do you like perform the majority of your
Yes.
sound creation?
Yeah, almost always, yeah. And honestly, it's just because it's like more fun. It's like feels less like work, and so I go like, you have to like balance the heads, So part of my job is being very, very, very like analytical and thinking about how it's going to work in the game and like how to get it, that process. But when I go to design land, I want that to be like a totally different head. And so that way, it's like, I don't want the two to intermingle too much. And so that's why I switched to Ableton, and that's why I have like a lot of like hardware synths. I've been using Pioneer decks as like sound design lately, like for, they have like a wide mode. So you can go from like 0 BPM to 300 BPM on any record. So it's like simple things like, I'll have even my old tracks as MP3s, and then on the decks, literally right there, and I can just kind of make really bizarre like dives and things like that.
Would you really recommend getting into Absinthe?
Absolutely. If you don't have Absinthe, it's my
I
favorite.
just never really
Oh, it's great. I mean, I can run through it. But yeah, let me lay something down here. Okay, cool. I think we're about done. Okay, so we have, we got a little weird. Yeah. Oh, whoa. An idea. You know what? I did a remix, guys. It's a big deal to me. I did a remix for Depeche Mode. So I'm going to pull in Dave Gahan's voice, and we'll mess with Dave Gahan's voice. We'll make it sound like Dave Gahan's a ghost. Don't tell him. All right. Let's see. Key stems. There we go.
So you like anti-surge?
We have to take cover.
Okay. There we go.
Way up here with the northern lights.
Okay, so we're going to take that. And I'm going to put a vocoder on it. And our input for the vocoder is going to be external audio from Absinthe. Let's take it a step further. And let's pitch this up an octave. So a good ghost is always going to have a little wind in their voice. So let's find like a nice kind of eerie wind. Okay, we're about to get even more meta. We need a new group. This has gone crazy haywire. So 2, 3, and then so we'll say Dave. So that's where we're going to put Dave's voice. Maybe I could do it this way. Beautiful. All right, so we'll reroute this. Okay. Is it 5? Still on? There we go.
Don't forget about Dave.
Oh, Dave's right. Dave's not here, man. Old ref. Anyway. Wow. Landed. Okay. So I made a new group called Creepster, which is where our stuff that we're going to use as the vocoding content. So right now there is Dave's voice right here in the red, and then we have a howling wind and that absinthe thing. So. Okay, cool, creepy. I like it. I'm gonna warp it just a little bit up, and then smooth that warp. Right. Okay. Cool. I like it. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of reverb, but I'm gonna do a little dub reverb here instead of like typical reverb. There we go. Probably know this trick. Right. This is the right way to do this. We're going to do one more pass, and I reversed it. I'll show you why. We're going to take that, and we're going to unreverse it. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, no, I'm not. It's a ghost. I'm creeped out. Albany Hall is now haunted. Okay, so I'm gonna take some questions because yes, Chris.
All right, so you did the cool ghost voice.
Yeah.
Which took
Cool.
15
Thanks.
steps. No, it's, all right, it's badass.
Okay, thanks.
So it took about 15 steps to do that.
Yeah.
How do you do that with 3,000 lines of dialogue? Would
That
you,
process right there? So what I would do in that
In real
case,
time.
in real time, yeah, I would just. That's a great question. I would teach them to talk backwards first things first. That's key there. Honestly, for that, I would probably. This is really only applicable for either small batches of dialogue, or like a creature that you're going to like encounter in a game. I tried to do some Ableton like batch processing for Prey, and that just didn't work. I mean, SoundForge or Audition are so much better at that I couldn't recommend something like this. But what I like about it, and what I did a lot of, is like have a process in Ableton that I thought was compelling, and then tried to recreate that same processing in Wise. And you can get about 60% there, I would say. It's not nearly as fine-tunable. It's a little bit more wild, and that is kind of the issue. But yeah. So yeah, any other questions? Great. I guess we're done. Pretty much.
Sounds
But
like it.
yeah. No, I mean I'm done. But what's on your heart?
Can you talk about the routing for that whole process?
Absolutely.
How you get that routing?
Okay, so what I did here is basically I have Dave's voice here, and so that's just going out to the master. And I just took this vocoder, and like there's another thing I can show you. Actually, there's one more thing I want to show you. So this vocoder, if you can see where it says audio from, right here where my mouse is.
Yeah.
Right, so I created a group called Creepster. And so Creepster is basically like, it's that absinthe patch and that wind. And so it's using the absinthe patch plus the wind to modulate the voice. So basically it's using the voice as like a carrier. But there's one other cool little thing. So you have that concept, yeah? What we can do, if we want, is maybe we could make like another element. Let's do another 2 elements, and we're going to group those elements. And maybe let's use something. So we want something kind of ghosty. Let's see. I have an idea. All right, let's use some like leaves, some foliage. We'll go to Frank's stuff. Cool. So I'm gonna grab that and like maybe let's pitch it way down. Just. Scary. Too spooky. Alright, that'll work. Okay, so now we have the cicadas going on. We have that like really low-pitched leaf thing. I think that's a bit extreme. And this is going to be our follow group. So I'm going to... Oh man, there's so many things I could get into. I'm going to grab a gate. And this is just the built-in Ableton gate. And I'm going to take that, sidechain that. My input's going to be Dave here. And then basically I just need to dial that in. Like, so Dave's voice is going to make the leaves audible and all that stuff. So we can get it real fine-tuny. And you can basically that one's particularly cool because I can put it, no, that's not gonna work. Envelope follower. Put it here, and then we can map that to something like, let me think of something that would be easy to tell. Auto filter. So you're gonna map that to the frequency on the auto filter. See if that mapping stays. Oh, I guess you have to have that audible. Huh. Wow, never mind. I mean, it's a little bit wild, but you can pull that in. Yeah. In conclusion, thank you all for being here.